Hello, and welcome again to Hanifah Talks. It's a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day, and I am so grateful to be alive and well today. I recently posted videos of the Hajj trip that I took, and so I'm just wanting to come and give you an update, share my experience with you about how my trip went. And I also want to talk about some of the events that took place prior to me going to Hajj. That's what I really want to talk about today. You know, it was a fascinating experience. It was a life-changing experience. I have never done anything like that in my life, and I am so very grateful that I did. However, leading up to Hajj, a chain of events that took place in my life was just so, like, ooh. I can't even be, I'm going to try. That's what I'm going to, I'm not going to say I can't even begin to talk about it, but I'm going to try to talk about it, because when I first got the invitation to go to Hajj, it was in December of 2013. And so I was a little leery, a little, concerned about whether or not my job was going to allow me to take that time off to go to Hajj, because I know it takes about a month to do. Well, I thought it took about a month to do at that time, so I wasn't real sure about the time frame, and I knew that I had to get the time off from work. So before I gave the okay and confirmed that yes, I would be going, I first contacted my job, and I found out whether or not I would be able to go. I was given a verbal okay, and then I needed to go ahead and do all of the footwork as far as getting a formal, written confirmation that yes, I would be able to actually take a leave off from work and be able to attend Hajj for 2014. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. Again, every time I think of Hajj, it's like, oh, it was wonderful. But anyway, so I just want to say that I did that process. Now, in doing that, a lot of things took place. I had to contact personnel, contact the director of where I work, of the company where I work for, do a whole bunch of things, and I got all that in place. And being a good little housekeeper, I kept everything in order, and I kept a record of all of that. And then, I had to get my shots, so there's a whole list of things that anyone going on Hajj needs to do. You need to, do blood work, have physicals, make sure that all your paperwork, your passports, and all that stuff is in place and ready to go. And so I did some checking around, especially for my passport, because my passport had my maiden name. When I've been married a couple times, I've been married 3 times actually, so I kept my maiden name at one, not my maiden name, but my previous married name for credit purposes, and I did not put my new husband's last name. I did not take his name for a while in the beginning, and then I did change my name about 3 years after we got married. However, my passport still had the previous information on it, and I called and I verified. Oh yeah, it's no problem. All you got to do is show your marriage license, show your your driver's license and all that has your current information. So when it came time to do the Hajj application and do the visa permits and things like that, I just submitted everything. Everything seemed to go through fine, no problem. I was excited, did all of the blood work, got all that in. Bam, here comes Ramadan 2014. And I decided that, I want to have the best Ramadan that I could possibly have. I want to, be there every day. I want to fast and I want to do all this. And so, I was really excited about Ramadan, but then I got sick. And I got sick, and I was sick and to the point of being hospitalized 3 times. And I almost died twice. And I was like, oh my God, what can happen here? What else can happen? And so then my in the process of being sick and preparing for Hajj and trying to get through Ramadan and trying to get my health back, my job, the office where I was located, had to relocate because our lease expired, and so there was a process of packing the office up, getting the new location, assisting my boss with everything that he needed to have done. So it was all that work that needed to take place, and being sick, doing the doing sick, being sick for the last 3 months, the 2 months prior to going to Hajj, being sick most of that entire time. So, and just gradually getting my health back. And, but still, I felt like, well, when you've been invited to God's house, here is the creator of the heavens and the earth. Here is the omnipotent, the omnipotent. You've been invited to his house. Okay? Are you going to say, oh, I'm too sick, I'm not going? No, you're not going to do that. You're going to say, oh yeah, I'm coming. If I have to crawl, I'm coming. So that was my mindset. I'm going no matter what, whether I'm sick, if I'm not sick. I mean, if I have to go limping with a cane, I'm going. I am going to Hajj this year because I'm real excited. And so that's what that was my mindset. And I just pressed my way through every situation that arose. And there were many things that took place, and I really don't have a whole lot of time to discuss all of it. But overall, I got through every bit of it. God's grace and mercy is just so awesome. And so I got through all of that. And then, here is the day. There came time for me to travel. And so, it was about first of all, the first thing that happened was a month prior to traveling, my job called me in the midst of me being sick and, moving the office and this, that, and the other, to want to know whether or not I actually was given approval to actually take leave of absence for another month, because I've been out, like I said, I was out for a whole month being sick, and and still back and forth to the doctors and all that. And now here I'm coming up on September when I have to leave to go to Hajj. I'm going to Saudi Arabia for a whole month, and it's like, oh, does she have permission to go? And yeah, I thank God, again, like I said, a good little housekeeper, real organized individual. I went and got the paperwork. I didn't have to find it. I knew where it was. Got the paperwork, faxed it to them, so that was no problem. And yes, I was able to go. Now, get down to the day that I was supposed to board the plane. Well, we're all packed and ready to go. There's a little mix-up with the time frame that the individual that was going to take us to Hajj was supposed to pick us up. Here, I thought he was going to come and get us at 12, and he and my husband apparently talked, and he was going to come and get us at 1. Well, when he didn't show up at 12 o'clock, well, I was ready to break his neck. I was just ready to give him a piece of my mind, knowing I need to keep it all for myself. So, so anyway, he finally showed up, and he was in good spirits, and we were in good spirits. I was a little bitter at him because he was a little bit late, I thought. And then I found out that they had that discussion, like I said, and so, everything was fine. And actually, the brother who took us waited with us at the airport the entire time. He was such a blessing to us. He's actually the one who went to Hajj and got us in touch with the person, the imam that did take us to Hajj. And so I'm really grateful for that. But get to the airport, and so we get there, we're on time, we're still waiting, talking, milling around the airport, waiting for to be boarded, and this, that, and the other. Get to the ticket line, go up to the counters, present my paperwork, my tickets, and all of this. Can't get my boarding pass. You know why? My passport has a different name. Well, it took us about 15 or 20 minutes to get this thing straightened out. I stood there, I cried, I prayed, I snot and cried some more. I'm thinking, God did not bring me all this way to tell me no. After all I've been through this entire year, God did not bring me this far, this close to going to Hajj to tell me no. So I showed them my passport. Of course, they had my passport already. I showed them my driver's license. I showed them my Social Security card. I showed them the paperwork from everything. I just my everything I could show them. I'm talking to them. Oh, well, I need to speak to the supervisor. Let me speak to somebody. Look, I'm ready to call God. Come down here and fix this now. And so one brother offered me, well, you can go back home. And I said, no, I'm not going home. I want to go right now. Do not want to wait until tomorrow to go. I want to travel with my husband. And, that was the intent, that he and I would travel with the group together. And I didn't want to have to travel by myself to go to Hajj. And thank God, after some time, and they contacted the main office and contacted the visa people and this one and that one, they were able to let me travel. Well, I was feeling so blessed. I felt so blessed and so grateful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came through for me. Yet again, he came through for me. And so, during the flight, here and other things took place on the flight there. My feet got swollen, and my ankles and my feet were swollen so big that I couldn't even get my foot in a shoe. I couldn't get my foot in a shoe, so I thank God that I had a pair of shoes that I could put on that would stretch, and that I was like my bath shoe. And I had other shoes but I didn't end up wearing them because my feet were swollen most the entire time. And but it wasn't a problem that my feet were swollen. I mean, God blessed me so that I didn't even feel any pain in my feet, my ankles, my legs, nothing was in pain. No pains whatsoever. And while we were there was a lot of walking. We had to do walking. It was different because we were in a strange land. We were in a different country. But on the way there, first we went to Germany, Frankfurt, Germany. Let me tell you that. We went from Frankfurt, Germany to Cairo, Egypt, and then from Cairo, Egypt to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And each country and each airport was different, and you have to experience it for yourself. That's all I can tell you. You have to experience it for yourself. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. But the most exciting part about the airport or the airplanes that we flew on was when we got on the airplane to go from Cairo, Egypt to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. It was an it was a Muslim airline, and all of the attendants were dressed in garb, and they were on their, it was just like, they had halal foods. I'd never been on a plane where all the food was halal, and all of the attendants were dressed in garb, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. And so, when you reach a certain point, on the plane when you're coming into Saudi Arabia, when you're coming into Jeddah or someplace in Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure of the actual point, but you start to say, you start to answer the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you say, oh my, I can't even think of it right now. That's terrible. That's terrible. But it's like, oh, it slipped my mind, and I hate that, but it'll come back to me. The only thing I can think of right now is just to say, that once you start to make that chant to answer Allah's call, that here you are, labbaik Allahumma. There it is. I knew it would come back. I knew it would come back without a doubt. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. In alhamda wa ni'mata laka wa mut la sharika la. And the entire plane just began to chant, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, labbaik in alhamda wa ni'mata laka wa mut la sharika la. I am here, O Allah. I obediently answer your call. There is no God but you. I can't give you the exact interpretation of it, but I do know it. But just the feeling that you get when an entire plane of people are headed for Hajj, and they're all going to the house of God to worship as an act of worship and praise unto your Creator. You're answering the call of God. Labik Allahumma labik. Labik Allah sharika laka labik. In alhamda. Wa ni'mata. Laka wa mut. La sharika la. I can feel it right now. I can feel it right now. The Spirit of God just moving in the plane, in the air. Woo! So exciting. And so we get there, and we the experience was just an awesome experience, like I said. But to see thousands upon thousands, I mean millions of people, I broke down and cried. I broke down and cried because I thought about the call of Ibrahim. And my husband said to me, do you know that when Ibrahim made the call, for the people to come to the Kaaba, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, Ibrahim, make the call. They will come. They will come from all distances. They will come on foot. They will come walking. They will come riding camels. But they will come, But when he made the call, he was in the desert, and there wasn't nobody there but him. And they built the Kaaba. They built the Ishmael and Ibrahim. Radiallahu anhu, built the Kaaba. And then they made the call. And to see thousands of years later, all these years later, millions of people still answering the call. They're coming, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, in alhamda, wa ni'mata, laka wa mut, la sharika la. They're coming. When I saw those people walking towards the Kaaba at all times of the day and night, stopping traffic. I mean, traffic just stopped. They couldn't go because of all of the people. A sea of white, ikrams everywhere you look. People coming barefoot, people coming from everywhere, people sleeping on the sidewalks. It was just amazing. It was just amazing. I remember seeing people, close their shops when the call to prayer came. They closed their shops, but they didn't lock their doors. Their goods were safe because no one had a mindset to steal. No one come up to steal, not doing Hajj, not doing this holy period. People, and even doing Umrah, doing Umrah, doing Hajj, people were just in the mindset, their mindset was to worship and praise their Creator for their life to be blessed by the God who called them to come and to worship, and they were so grateful to be there. I saw people sleeping on the marble, in the heat, 115 degrees, laying, comfort themselves in it. And the amazing thing is they had fans all around the Kaaba, the outside courtyard. There's these fans, and the fans blow air, but they also blow water to cool the people down. And people were just so warm and so loving, and just, it was just the Spirit of God. I've heard people say the Spirit of God is in this place. Well, the Spirit of God is truly in that place. And it's like I said, it's a life-changing experience. Life-changing experience. I've never felt anything like it before. Just walking through the streets and seeing people from everywhere, all walks of life, all nationalities, all in common garb, all in common clothing. You couldn't tell the rich man from the poor man. You couldn't tell them, and even if a person was sick, you really didn't know because of the joy that they had, because of that intensity, that the intention in their heart and their mind was to come and praise and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They had that in their hearts and their minds, and they were focused on that and not on the little trivial things that were taking place. There was many times when we couldn't get a bus or a car or a taxi, and we had to walk. And so we set out and we walked. And we were amazed at the fact that we could walk 10, 15 miles. One day we walked 30 miles, going back and forth to Mecca, to Mina, and back and forth. But it was just such a blessing, to be able to walk, thank God, because I saw people who didn't have legs. They were on a wheelchair. They were on this little thing to roll. They were rolling. No one had anything to complain about. Nothing to complain about. Of course, we're human nature. We can find things to complain about if we want to. But and then the other blessing was, people complain and people didn't complain. It is what it is. We are human and we're going to complain sometimes. But it was Hajj Akbar, because Hajj took place on a Friday, and that was Hajj Akbar, the greatest of Hajjes. So I'm like, oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me so I could be here doing Hajj Akbar. Bless my husband and I to be there, and I'm so grateful that my husband, was able to take me, that we were able to accept the invitation to come to Hajj in 2014. I posted up some videos about it. Some of them are sticking a little bit. I have to go back and fix it, but it's okay. Check it out. You'll see all the people. I put in a couple photos of some of the people that went with us on Hajj, the Imam, and some of the other members of the group. And the other thing that we did, I want to say real quickly, is that every morning before Fajr, before sunrise, we would get to the rooftop of Al Haram, and we would get on the rooftop and we would make tahajjud, and we would do 12 rakats of tahajjud. And then after we did tahajjud, we had a hafiz come and teach us. He would sit with us and he would teach us every morning. Oh my God, how awesome is this? He teach us every morning, and we sit and we learn from him. We learn Quranic recitation. We hear the different stories from the Quran. We learn so many different things from this hafiz. It was just amazing. And then we would stay on the rooftop and just take in, watch the birds as they come and everything. They said, let everything that have breath praise ye our God. Let everything that have breath praise him. And that's what happened. We watched the birds come in and praise. The adhan would go off, and everyone would come and praise our Creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I just want to come back and finish off that video. So this is going to be actually the part 2 of my journey to Hajj. And I previously ended the first video with talking about being at Al Haram first thing in the morning on the rooftop and doing tahajjud, making salat, and being with the hafiz who taught us many, many lessons while there. And that was just the beginning of our experience. We had a hafiz that met with us on a regular basis, sometimes after dinner, after Maghrib, or after Isha, or right in the morning after breakfast. We would leave the haram and go over and have breakfast, and then after breakfast or during breakfast, we had these round table discussions. So it was really a interesting learning experience the entire time. The whole atmosphere was one of learning and becoming more knowledgeable about your deen. So go prepared. Go prepared to be enlightened. Go prepared to have your spirit awakened. Hajj is an awesome experience. You're going to really learn an awful lot, and your life will change. Your life will really, really change. I'm called to remember, this was Hajj Akbar. And the reason why it was called Hajj Akbar is because the actual Hajj event is only one day out of the entire ceremony, but it took place on Friday. So we went to Arafat Mountain. We went to Arafat on a Friday, which is also Jummah, and we made Hajj on Friday. And after that, we went to I can't really remember the name of the place that we went to now, but I do know that we were in Mina and we went to Mecca, Medina, while we were there. So there were many places that we went to, and it was in October 2014, and I need to be a little bit more knowledgeable about these things, and because I'm trying to get it said and done really quickly. because I really want everyone to get a understanding of what it was like, and pretty much share my experience of what it was like. And just let you know that even sleeping in the desert, that was something else too. We had our sleeping bags. We actually had these mats that we put down on the ground, and we were able to collect pebbles while we were there, and just do all sorts of things, communicate with one another. Food was being shared with each person, so, and staying in the tents was a wonderful experience. I had a great group of sisters that we stayed with. I met a lot of new people, women from all over the world were there, and it was just such an enlightening experience for me, to know that so many people worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and practice Islam on a daily basis, and without having to be ridiculed or ostracized or anything. It is just an awesome thing. And the other thing I noticed too, by being in a Muslim country, everyone in the country is from Australia. And she says, I'm Aussie. And I just really kind of remember just some of the women, not being able to speak very good English, some people not being able to speak English at all, but all of us having one thing in common, and then that is that we were there to worship our Creator. And so when prayer time came, if a person, any individual was looking for a place to fit in, to join in the ranks to pray, there were people just calling you, beckoning you to come on over and get into the ranks so that you would be able to pray, making space for you, try to make you comfortable. People would hug you. I got hugs from people who who I've never met in my life, will never see again in life, but they were just so warm. Families of women, African sisters, Australian sisters, sisters from England, just sisters from all over the world. And it's amazing to see, that sort of camaraderie, that sort of love and concern for one another, which is what they had. And at prayer time, it was just amazing to see how people shut down their shops, and there was money and things laying around. No one touched anything that didn't belong to them, to themselves. If it belonged to someone else, they left it there. And that's something that I'm used to seeing in the United States. I mean, you can't leave your store open with a curtain pulled over your goods and walk away just because you're going to prayer. But there, in that Islamic country, people closed their stores, but they did not lock the doors. They pulled drapes down. They threw things over top of their goods, and they just walked away. And they walked away for a length of time, and enough time to be able to make their salat, to pray, to make some sunnahs and some nafils and things like that, and to go back to their store that was safe and sound. Their goods had not been touched by any outsider. There were people sleeping on the streets. I remember we walked past a group of people. Yeah, I'm on my lunch break here, so trying to do this thing on my lunch break really quick. But we walked past a group of people that were outside sleeping, and there was this one man who had money in his pocket. And you could clearly see that there were dollar bills or real in his pocket, and no one touched it. So it's like, wow, the trust factor, and if you were lost, or if you didn't have to worry about people trying to get over on you. I know sometimes when I'm out of the country or someplace, I felt that I was going to be, there was some terrible things in the news before we left about people being beheaded and, all sorts of horrific things that were taking place in other countries. But I had nothing to worry about while I was there. Our leader was someone who was a trusted servant who of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He led us. He knew he is a very knowledgeable person, and his name is Imam Fareed. He's out of the Chester, Delaware Masjid, and he was just a very, very knowledgeable person who's taken many people to Hajj and very successfully done so. And so I'm just real grateful that we were able to be there during the Hajj Akbar and with the individual group that we were with. I'm just trying to go back and think about a couple of other things that I can recap on to talk about my adventure. That was not the adventure, but my experience there. And one of the other things was just uh, remembering the camaraderie of the girls that that were in my room that I slept with. We had a group of 4 women that we all had to stay in the same room together, and 4 individuals who really don't know each other. Sometimes you have couple things going on, but the thing is that you work through every situation through prayer and through the imam and just through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was just great. It was just great to be able to do that, to be able to talk through situations and things like that, and to grow. It's a growth process that I went through there that I really didn't expect to take place in my life. I just didn't expect it, but I did. We also met the owner of the person the hotel, the one Hilton hotel there, huge hotel, and it's a picture of it in the video that I did for the Hajj 2014, Hajj Akbar 2014. There's a picture of the hotel there, and we met the owner of the hotel who he took a liking to my husband, and he handed my husband his phone, and this man is a billionaire. He is an absolute billionaire, but he was just, so interested in knowing and feeling what we felt. He's been to Hajj many times. He lives there. He's done this, but he wanted to get what we felt. He wanted to feel what we felt. He wanted to experience it the way we experienced it. He asked, "How do you feel coming here and seeing the Kaaba for the first time? How is it just to see and walk through the Masjid al-Haram and to do Safa and Marwa?" And we told him of our experience and the joy that came over his face, the tears that filled his eyes. Oh, it was just a wonderful experience. He bought us teas. He sat and talked with us, as if we were on his level. I mean, I am not by any chance a billionaire, millionaire, or any of those. And I don't think anyone in our group were. But he sat and talked with us as if we were, we would be considered common folk. No, we were not common folk. We were all just the same. And that was the other thing that was so wonderful, that everyone, no matter rich or poor, young or old, everyone sat together and fellowship together and worship together and prayed together and came together, and there was no difference in color and race and creed. There was no difference, no one being treated indifferently. It was just a great experience. So if you're going to undergo Hajj, or if you haven't taken Hajj, if you've thought about going to Hajj and had some feelings of fear or doubt, put that aside, pray and ask and seek the face of Allah and ask for His guidance and His help in doing Hajj. Look to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance on who to go with. There are several people out here that put together Hajj packages, and some people will say some are better than others, but once you're there, you're there. It doesn't matter if you're staying in a 5-star hotel, 4-star hotel, or sleeping in the desert at Arafat. It really doesn't matter, because you're there. You're at Hajj, and you are there for worship. You're not there for comfort and convenience. You are there to worship and praise your Creator. So I wish you all of the best if you are going to go on Hajj this year, 2015. If not, if sometime in the future, I still wish you assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings be upon you. To cook bala mini wa minkum, may the peace and blessings of Allah be with you always, always. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, subhanallah, for all of those. And I pray for mercy and grace, and I pray for the blessings for the believing men, women, and children. I ask Allah for forgiveness for us, and that He opened doors for us, and that we are able to embrace one another in love, and not war, and not hatred, and not bitter fighting against one another, because we truly are the people of God, and that is all man and all mankind, not just of one religion, but all mankind belongs to God. We have one Creator, and that is the God of the heavens and the earth. For whom there is no likeness, and there is none other like Him, and no one to be compared to Him. So, be blessed today. Stay tuned to my channel. I thank you for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Take care.